everybody, and welcome to Beginner's Resin. I'm going to be doing a little series for beginners and put it all into a playlist for you all. So those that are new to resin, this basically is for you. So every day I'm going to be doing a video. It'll only be a short video on how to do specific things when you're a newbie to resin. So today's video, we're going to start off by mixing resin. So there's so many brands on the market that are big brands, and there's also cheap brands as well. I highly recommend the bigger brands because you get what you paid for. And I know things might be like £10–20 extra, and I know money can be tight, but if you are serious about going into resin, then your bigger brands are always the best. But if you can't afford it, I will list some cheaper brands that I have used myself when I first started for you to have a look and maybe test. So today I'm going to be using a 2-to-1 resin. It's not basically the ideal resin to start with. You're best off with a 1-to-1, but it's just because I'm mixing this up for a project, you see, so it's easier for me to do a video based on the resin that I'm going to be using for a project, so that I'm not wasting resin. So Resin Pro Eye Crystal is a 2-to-1 ratio, so you'll always get a smaller bottle and a bigger bottle. So 2-to-1 means 2 parts of the big bottle to 1 part of the little bottle. So for example, if I was to do 20 grams of part B, I would need 40 grams of this one, because you're timesing this by 2 to get this. So 20 times 2 is 40. Right. So, and always measure in grams, it's better that way. But it's up to yourself. I can't tell you how to weigh. There are some brands that are volume, and volumes is easy for when you're first starting out. So there will be a video coming up in volume, but I'm using this one today. So for your scales, I got these scales off Amazon. I will link them. They're simple. There's nothing hard about them. So all I do is turn them on button, and then if you press this button, this moves it grams, ounces, mils, etc. So because mine's got the G there, that's on grams. So then I put on my cup, and my cup weighs 5.3 grams. So I need to reset the weight so that the weight of the cup is not included in the weight of the resin. Okay. So I'm going to start off with part B, and I need 150 grams. So I need 50 grams of this. So 50 times 2 is 100 grams, and 100 grams and 50 grams makes 150. Does that make sense? Right. So just pour it slowly. You need it to be as close to 50 as possible, or whatever you're measuring. Try to stick to the weight because it can affect the curing process. I always go over. It's very hard not to. There we go. 50 grams. So then, while keeping that in the pot, and we reset that again to take the weight to 0. So that means that the scales weigh 0, even though we've got this in. And now I want 100 grams of part A. So adding this now to this will not make no difference. It'll only calculate the weight of this bottle. So I want 100 grams of this. And we start getting close to the 100, slow it down. And then just start adding bit by bit. This is a low viscosity resin. And there we go, 100 grams. So the total weight of that is 150 grams because I've measured it. Right, so you will need a stirrer stick, so you can mix resin with whatever you want. I do advise plastic or acrylic stirrer sticks, just based on my opinion, because I personally find wooden sticks add bubbles to my resin. And you need to mix your resin one way only, and so I go clockwise, so the same way as the clock goes, and I'll mix that for 3 to 4 minutes. Some resins only need mixing for 3 minutes, some need mixing for 5. This is the 3 to 4 minutes mixing time, so I'll show you what to do. So you put your stick in, and you also want to make sure that you scrape the sides of your cup when mixing, and we're just going to mix it very slowly. And if you mix it slowly, even though it's time consuming, it just makes sure that the resin is mixed and you're not incorporating more bubbles into your resin. And that's it. And that's all we do. You can buy a mixer. If you do want to eventually buy a mixer, I do recommend the Istoyo mixer. It is an AI mixer, and it basically has a function button that enables the machine to mix your resin for 4 minutes. I will do a video on that and put that in with the playlist. See, all I'm doing is just mixing. So as I said earlier, you heard me say the word viscosity. Viscosity, if you are new to resin, you might not be a terminology that you're used to or aware of. Viscosity means thickness. So this is a low viscosity, which means that it's a thin resin. And low viscosity resins are usually 2 to 1s. However, there are some brands that are 1 to 1 that are low viscosity. I will do a video on different types of resins, as I have got quite a few brands here now. So as you can see, it's still not mixed. And how will you know if your resin is mixed? If you look at your resin, it's murky and streaky. Once it's all mixed together and the resin has come together, it will go clear. So you just keep mixing until everything is clear, making sure that you scrape all the sides. And when you scrape the sides, that just gets all the resin, you know, the unmixed resin off the sides. See, I've hardly put any bubbles in, which is good, and that's why you always recommended to mix your resin slowly for 4 minutes, because 1, you're mixing your resin thoroughly, and 2, mixing slowly, you're not incorporating bubbles. And that's it. So I will leave that with you. I always leave my resin to the side for 5 minutes to degas, so that any bubbles that are at the bottom, they will come to the top and disperse. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the next upload for beginners. Goodbye.